master. Too often we forget that. Craft within us servants' hearts. Hearts full of humility, equality, and a willingness to care. For we were created by you to be useful. Give us work that matters, heart to play. Pave your way to your kingdom through us. Amen. Amen. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So saith Mahatma Gandhi. So saith the 24 million viewers who lost themselves in season 3 of Downton Abbey. Anybody out there? Yes? Rejoice, Downton Abbey fans. 6 months from today, season 4 begins. So why have so many of us lost ourselves in watching a family be waited on hand and foot? Why was Jim Carter, butler on the show, mocked by Asian tourists chanting, "Mr. Cawson, Mr. Cawson," as he visited ancient Hindu temples in Cambodia? Google, "Why do we love Downton Abbey?" Get 20 million responses. Everyone has their theory. Mine's pretty basic. There's a servant in every good story. Anyone who's a Christian believes that. Remember, Abraham said, "My Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant." Moses, once a slave, parted the Red Sea, and right after this, in Exodus, we're told Israel saw the great work, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. Jesus said, "If anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all." So there's a servant in every good story. Now, I've read on all the blogs how unrealistic Downton Abbey is, how well-dressed, well-treated the servants are. But still, the show shows two cultures, wealthy superiors and servant inferiors. Yet the beauty of the show is that it shrinks the gap between the two. We enjoy watching the Crawley family and their staff exchange gifts at Christmas, kind words, keeping confidences, sharing sorrows, upstairs wealthy and downstairs help live together under one roof, respecting, protecting, saving face for one another in ways great and small. Servants are loyal to their masters, and vice versa occurs. The masters, in turn, are loyal to their servants. Tolstoy wrote, "The vocation of every man and woman is to serve other people." Anyone who watches Downton Abbey knows both masters and servants by name. Robert Crawley, Lady Mary, Lady Sybil, Mr. Bates, Anna, Daisy. But note that in 2 Kings, some names remain unknown. There's Naaman, whose name means nice guy, delightful one. The kings of Aram and Israel, Elisha the prophet, Naaman's wife, though the usual, she has no speaking part, and servants who are pivotal to the plot. For without them, there'd be no story, no cure, no happy ending, nothing remembered. And this story was remembered throughout the centuries. It was its Downton Abbey soap opera in its own day. Jesus, remember, knew this story so well, he preached it from memory at his first sermon in his hometown. He said, "Now there were many lepers in Israel at the time of the prophet Elisha, but none of them was cleansed except Naaman, the Syrian." Naaman, we're told, was top gun, 4-star general, part of the king's inner circle, surprising considering the fact he had leprosy, a contagious skin disease that just could not be hidden. And remember, most lepers in Naaman's time were outcasts. No cure at hand meant they were banished from polite society, but Naaman's military prowess and success had given him privilege among the privileged. It had allowed him to stay put and keep his job. His family had even benefited from his victories, owning a young girl captured from war, slave. But remember, even this exile had a choice. She could have been the poster child for schadenfreude. She could have been thrilled at her master's misfortune, thought, "Naaman trapped me then, that disease will destroy him now." But instead, she chose the high road. Compassion. Henry Nouwen explains, compassion asks us to go where it hurts, to enter into places of pain, to share in brokenness, fear, confusion, and anguish. Compassion challenges us to cry out with those in misery, to mourn with those who are lonely, to weep with those in tears. Compassion requires us to be weak with the weak, vulnerable with the vulnerable, powerless with the powerless. Compassion means full immersion in the condition of being human. How was Naaman cured? A young girl with no power found her voice. A compassionate someone on the bottom risked giving medical advice to someone at the top. Check out that prophet in Samaria. He can cure you. Miracle number 1, the girl spoke out. Miracle number 2, her master actually listened and acted. Traveled to enemy territory to meet this prophet, secured a letter of introduction from his boss, and we hear how the king says. He thinks Aram's king is trying to trap me. He asks the impossible. His head commander has been sent to me to die, and he'll use it as an excuse to blame me and go to war. Yet again, someone beneath the master intercedes. Servant of God. Elisha says, relax, stop tearing up your clothes. Send Naaman to me. Naaman comes out to him decked in all his finery and is not impressed to be greeted, no, not by Elisha, but by Elisha's servant, a messenger who says, just go take a dip in the Jordan 7 times. Now this makes Naaman really angry. This is what he traveled all the way for. Couldn't he have just bathed at home? Why does he have to soak in a dirty river? Wasn't he a man of status and success, worthy of the spiritual wave of hands, holy hocus pocus over him? Naaman goes off in a huff, and now it's a posse of servants who save the day and say, wait a minute, if the prophet had said jump off a cliff, go skydiving, you would have done it. Why do you have a problem following simple instructions? Just do what Elisha asks. It's not rocket science. So Naaman follows the directives, and he's healed. He's actually better than healed because we're told he's new and improved. His flesh is like that of a young boy. He's clean. What do I love about this story? What don't I love about this story? Servants telling masters what to do. One king worrying about how to do his enemy's bidding. Elisha's moxie. Naaman dissing the Jordan River. And above all else, a little girl taking her big girl pill. Showing up. Showing compassion. Proving for all nameless servants before and since, there is no story without them. The world now, becomes whole by the power of God and the intervention of servants just like you. There is a scene in episode 2, season 1 of Downton Abbey. A young lawyer, Matthew Crawley, who's just joined the family, doesn't really see the value of servants. He shares his thoughts with the head of the estate, and in response, Lord Grantham says this: when your master here, is the butler to be dismissed, or the footman? How many maids or kitchen staff will be allowed to stay, or must everyone be driven out? We all have different parts to play, Matthew. We must be allowed to play them. Friends, what role Do you alone play in the work of God's kingdom? Ask of yourself each day, how can I be of holy use? Who needs my compassion? Who needs my passion? Who needs me to intervene?